when prayer is the only way forward. I am in the book of Mark in my daily Bible reading. Jesus is in his ministry, showing himself to be the promised Messiah sent by the Father. Part of his work was to display his power over the forces of evil. He did this, in part, by casting out demons who possessed his image bearers. When demons confronted Jesus, there was never a contest. He commanded, and they obeyed. His authority was absolute. In fact, his power was so complete that he was even able to grant his disciples authority to cast out demons in his name. Imagine that. Demons forced to obey ordinary people because God had placed his power in them. But in Mark 9, something unusual happens. And someone from the crowd answered him, "Teacher, I brought my son to you, for he has a spirit that makes him mute. And whenever it seizes him, it throws him down, and he foams and grinds his teeth and becomes rigid. So I asked your disciples to cast it out, and they were not able." Mark 9, verse 17 to 18. The disciples had cast out demons before, but this time they could not. So Jesus stepped in. The Father explained how this demon had tried for years to destroy his son, and it has often cast him into fire and into water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us. If you can, do you hear the doubt? And Jesus said to him, "If you can, all things are possible for one who believes." Mark 9:23. I can almost see Jesus pause here. Did you just say, "If I can"? This man was speaking to Emmanuel, God with us, the creator through whom all things were made, the great I am. With Jesus, the question is never, can you? It is always, will you? But isn't that how we often pray? Lord, if you can. Lord, is it possible? Lord, can you really? When life closes every door, when the situation feels hopeless, when we've run into wall after wall, we often sound just like this father. And then comes his cry of honesty. Immediately the father of the child cried out and said, "I believe, help my unbelief." Mark 9, verse 24. Jesus does exactly that. He commands the demon to leave. The boy collapses as though dead, but Jesus takes him by the hand, lifts him up, and restores him. Later, the disciples ask why they had failed. Jesus' answer is simple and profound. And he said to them, "This kind cannot be driven out by anything but prayer." Mark 9:29. That's the lesson for us. There are some battles only prayer can touch. You can eat right, take medicine, and do everything in your power. But when the disease continues, prayer is where you turn. You can pour out your heart to lead your children toward Christ. But when the world grips their hearts, prayer is the way forward. Jesus equips us to do much in his name, but we must also know when to lay it all before him. Prayer is not our last resort. Prayer is where our strength begins. Even Jesus in Gethsemane didn't pray, "Father, if you can." He prayed, "Father, if you will." He already knew the Father could do all things. His prayer was an act of trust, surrendering to the Father's will. That's our model too. When we pray, the question is never whether God can. We pray knowing he can do all things, and we lay our requests before him in faith. So when every door slams shut, when the walls feel too high, we remember, prayer is the pathway to the one who can do what we cannot. Have you ever prayed like the Father? "I believe, help my unbelief"? I'd love to hear in the comments how God has met you in prayer when things felt impossible. Let's learn together and walk together in faith.